Okay, so now we're going to be looking at putting some actual text and images into our poster. And I want to go over a few things with you that might be helpful for finding higher resolution images, finding information on your topic, and then also on actually putting the text in and some tips on easy ways to do that. So the first thing that I did want to show you is if you're doing a book like I am here, you're obviously going to have an author. And because this is not a real poster, I'm going to be using a lot of the information taken right from the Wikipedia page. Don't do this for your poster. Use the research that you've actually done. I'm not going to be citing any of this because this is not going to be a published poster, but citing is very important even in a poster presentation. So you're going to want to make sure that you are able to account for the sources, that you're using your own words, and that you're providing a list of all the sources you consulted at the end. And we do that a little differently with posters, and I'll go over that later on, but for now I'm just going to use Wikipedia. So we have an author, Margery Williams, and I can also see that she's also known as Margery Williams Bianco. So I did a Google search for her. You can see we come up with a Wikipedia article. There are images which are going to be really helpful, but I want good information about the author. I want a nice succinct bio. I want to find some information that I can use for a section on her in my poster. So I'm going to show you a place where we can actually go right on the library's website. So if we go to libraries.potsdam.edu, you're going to go over to here where it says resources by subject. We're going to choose English. It's going to open up a new tab here, and right on this front page for English, you're going to see online resources, and we have the OED, which is very helpful, and also Literature Resource Center. So if you click on Literature Resource Center, it's going to have, it might not have you log in, I just have to do this because of the proxy. Let's hope it works. There we go. Okay, so here we are, Literature Resource Center. So what you can search for is actually her name. And she comes up right here, Bianco Margery Williams. So click that and then say search. And here we have sort of a quick thing up here, quick little summary, and then we have search results, literary criticism, and then here are, it gives you the type of information, and it gives you a bunch of listings here, but what's really helpful is that it also gives you person about, you can see over here, or it gives you, it separates it into biographies. So here are actual, little biography entries on this author, which is really helpful because you can limit it here. If we go to biographies, we see the same two as before. You can type on them. This is by Harry Ice. You can click on them. And here we go right here. And we see writings by the author. So this is really helpful if you're doing something like a book history. But then here is a biographical essay. And you can see it's extensive, like this is a longer one. However, it usually has really good, really accurate information with good citations. So reading this is a great way to pull quotes or information for your poster, but it's also a really good way to sort of give you a launching point for research about your author. So I'm actually just going to be grabbing a bit of the text from one of these entries for my poster. But I did want to show you, here's personal information, so we even have birth dates, marriage dates, all of that, career awards. Here again, more writings by the author. This separates it even more. It lists her translations that she did, and that's neat. So you have a lot here, and this is a bit more of a. You can see it's formatted differently. They approach the biography a bit differently, so it can be really helpful. So that's some information on how to find the author. And then the next thing I wanted to show you was when you're actually doing image searches. So I have typed in to my Google search the Velveteen Rabbit. And obviously if I go to images, it's going to come up. And usually when you type in a book name, what comes up first in the search results are covers of the book. But you'll also have other options that might be illustrations or movie covers. So what's great about Google is that it'll often put up here options for, illustrations, quotes, book cover. So I'm going to select book cover here, and here I get some that are definitely book covers. Now, this is great, and it looks like I could use, look at all of these images, but the problem is that some of these are going to be a very low resolution. Like, look at this one. If this is 174 by 225, that's very low resolution. And if I take an image that small and enlarge it to, several inches tall and several inches wide, it's going to look very pixelated and distorted. So when you're in Google and under Images, if you click up here with Search Tools, you'll see size, color, type, time, lots of different things. So if you click size and then change it to large, that's going to be really helpful because these are book covers that have been taken and uploaded in a large resolution format. So basically anything that you find under large is going to be acceptable. It's going to look great when you enlarge it, and generally the actual size of it, when you open it up, you'll see that the size is very large. Resolution is tricky. I don't really fully understand it myself, but basically this is giving you pixels. These are 1982 pixels by 2699. Pixels are not a set density though. Resolution is measured by pixels per inch, but the printer will print in dots per inch. So and there's a conversion between the two, but generally something that has a higher resolution with pixels means that there is a higher density of pixels per inch. So you will generally be safe with using an image like this. So I see a couple of these that look really good. If we click on them once, it will enlarge. Anything that takes a little time to load down here with this gray bar, is going to be a really nice, a nice cover. So I'm just going to save these right to my desktop. So I have a trackpad, so I'm two-finger clicking, or you can opposite click on your mouse, and I'm going to say Save Image As. You can save it right to downloads if you want. I'm going to say Save Image As. I'm just going to call mine Cover 1 and label them that way. So it'll tell you the file type. Luckily, PowerPoint can support almost any image type. And I'm going to change this to my desktop. Oops. There we go. And save. So I'm going to take that one. I'll wait for this one to load here. I really like this one. This shows a dollar. It has the interesting price up there. When you're doing this for your actual poster, you're going to want to actually find out what book this actually is. So you're going to want to go to this link here and find out, okay, this is the cover of this edition, such and such edition, and this is the cover of the movie adaptation from this year, and that sort of thing. So you'll want to make sure that all of that is available to you because you'll need to either list it in your on your poster itself or in your Works Cited. So there's this one. Here's another one that's sort of just a faded, another Velveteen Rabbit. I'll just do a couple here. My suggestion is pick about, 4 to 6, depending upon how many are available for you. Interesting covers, try to find ones of interesting editions, ones that stand out to you. I have some abstract sort of drawing ones from the original Illustrator. Here's one that's the classic edition. So here's one that's much more updated. I sort of like this one as well. So there's the fourth one. I like this one. This is sort of cool. And this one's a bit cropped. You can see that it's just a picture that someone took. But it's still interesting, and a lot of times this is what you'll find. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can always crop it a little more yourself if you want. But for this case, if it's an image that someone took, you can see this is being listed on Etsy. So if you can find the name of the person who took it or the username of their account, you'll want to give them credit for it through that and say image by. And generally anything that's posted on Etsy or that sort of stuff is open for use, it sort of becomes Creative Commons, um, and it's open to be used by anyone. But you do want to make sure that the images that you're using are acceptable to be used. Um, so check your MLA handbook for that. It has great information on citing images. This one, apparently my computer is dying. This one is going to take a minute to load because it's a very high resolution. But I like this one, and then I think I'll grab this one down here. You can tell there are a lot of editions of the Velveteen Rabbit. There we go. That's a nice pastel cover. Okay, so there's my 6th. I might not use all 7 of these. I might just use the 6. We'll see. It is important to wait for it to load. I found sometimes if you don't wait for the full image to load, when you go to download it, it will not download the full resolution image, interestingly. So make sure you wait for it. Okay, so now I have some great covers that I'm going to be able to put into my poster. So the next thing that we want to look at is text. So like I said, you're going to want to take the time to actually type out your own text. I have just copy-pasted some information from Wikipedia, but what I do want to show you is I find that it is easiest if you start a Word document and type your text for your different sections in your Word document. So if you're going to have, author bio, you'll want to make that a section in your Word document if it's going to be a section in your poster. And then you're going to want to type something here. So for mine, I'm just going to use this little blurb from Wikipedia, for the Literary Resource Center. I realize this is not at all large enough, not at all complete enough, however it'll serve my purposes here. So, and then here's a summary of the book. For a poster, for someone who might, an audience that might be unfamiliar with your book or your author, I suggest doing some sort of a summary, but you'll want to keep it brief. You don't want to give anything away with spoilers, really. This is a longer summary than would normally be on a poster. Again, I'm just pulling from Wikipedia. But you want to avoid large blocks of text. Keep your poster interesting with combining images for each section along with text. Break up your text into different parts, break it up with images so that it keeps your readers interested and they don't just feel like they're staring at a poster and reading it forever. Generally, the whole poster should take maybe about 10 minutes to peruse the whole thing. 10-15 minutes of standing there, even less, to sort of look at the whole thing, follow the whole thing through, and give the viewer an idea of what you're presenting on. So I have some text here, I have some sections. What I'm going to go ahead and do now is finish creating my sections. I suggest creating your sections based upon your assignment, your requirements. So for like the book history, you're going to have some information on editions and publications, some information on marketing and printing, information on the author, information on the text itself. So all of those could be a section in your poster, but keep it limited. I wouldn't do more than maybe 5 or 6. If we go back to the Vatek poster here, you can see I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I did 7. Although this is sort of this was sort of all sort of about the author that I kind of did in this cascade. And that's, that was because there wasn't a whole lot of information in each section. You can see this is my longest block of text, and even this is pushing it. Honestly, it really is. I didn't have too many images because of the age and the sort of unavailability of information about my book. But a book like, that's more well known, like The Velveteen Rabbit, you can have lots of images. And you don't want to just use the images as fluff, but you do want to use them as visual elements and visual tools to help your readers and help your viewers feel like they're not just being bombarded with text. So I'm going to finish creating these sections. I think I'll probably do about 4 sections, and then I'm going to show you guys how we can kind of throw everything in and then play around with moving things around, formatting the font colors, and things like that.